I looked at the calendar on the fridge, only a few weeks until our second anniversary. Time seemed to fly by. It had been 5 years since I met Ava, and it felt like we were still in that bubble of excitement and newness. Everything about her was captivating. The way she laughed, the way she carried herself, the way she saw the world in technicolor. I never thought I'd find someone like her, someone who felt like the perfect fit for my life, the kind of woman who could turn a normal day into something worth remembering. Ava and I had been together for a long time now, but it never felt like we were running out of things to talk about. Every day there was something new to laugh about, something new to discover about each other. We met in college, her studying design, me slogging through mechanical engineering. We couldn't have been more different, yet it worked. Somehow, we balanced each other. I brought the stability, she brought the excitement. I guess that's why it felt like we could conquer anything together. We were planning a getaway for our anniversary. Nothing big, just a weekend trip to the mountains. Ava had been talking about it for weeks, sending me links to cabins and making sure everything was perfect. I smiled as I remembered how she excitedly bounced around the living room while I tried to concentrate on the work piled on my desk. "You need a break, Arthur," she'd said. "We both do." It was hard to say no to her when she looked at me like that, so I agreed. We'd leave on a Friday and come back on Sunday. It was just going to be the two of us, alone in a cabin in the woods, celebrating our love. There was something so peaceful about the thought of it, something that promised a brief escape from the world, from everything except each other. I stood in the kitchen, coffee mug in hand, watching Ava as she hummed around the house, doing her usual morning routine. She had her hair tied up in a messy bun, the soft fabric of her oversized sweater falling off her shoulder. She moved around like she owned the place, like she was the heartbeat of the entire apartment. The way she threw me a grin over her shoulder as she set her bag down, like I was her safe space, made my heart swell. "Everything okay?" she asked, her voice cutting through my thoughts. She walked over to where I stood, leaning against the counter, her fingers lightly brushing against mine. "Yeah, just thinking about the trip," I replied, offering her a reassuring smile. She leaned in, giving me a kiss on the cheek. "It's going to be amazing. I can feel it." I nodded, feeling a rush of warmth spread through me at her words. Everything was going to be amazing. We were going to celebrate us, our love, our life together. It was perfect, really. I had no reason to think otherwise. She grabbed her jacket and slung her bag over her shoulder. "I'll see you tonight," she said, giving me another quick kiss before heading for the door. "Love you." "Love you too," I called out, watching her leave. As the door clicked shut behind her, I sighed, glancing around the apartment. It felt like home, like it had for the past few years. Everything was in its place. Our photos on the walls, the kitchen organized just how we liked it, the scent of fresh coffee lingering in the air. I took a deep breath, letting the peace of the moment settle over me. Nothing seemed out of place. Nothing seemed wrong. Everything was exactly how it should be. It was the calm before the storm, but I didn't know it yet. The day passed uneventfully, the usual mix of work and small errands. I went about my routine, checked off my to-do list, all the while thinking about how Ava's excited chatter about the trip had filled me with warmth. We had so much to look forward to. Everything was going according to plan. But somewhere beneath it all, something was beginning to stir. I didn't know it yet, but cracks were beginning to form in the foundation of what I thought was the perfect life. I wasn't aware that my world was about to be shattered piece by piece, until all that would remain was the raw truth I'd never seen coming. But for now, everything was perfect. I had no idea how fragile that perfection was. The first thing I noticed was the quiet. It wasn't a loud silence or anything that screamed for attention, but it was there, just beneath the surface. Ava had always been the kind of person who filled a room with her energy, her laugh, the little details she'd share about her day. But recently, those moments seemed fewer and farther between. It started small, like when she came home late one evening and didn't offer an explanation. "How was your day?" I asked, trying to keep things light, but she just shrugged and mumbled something about being stuck at work. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe she was just tired. Maybe she had a meeting or something important going on, but then it happened again and again. One Friday night, I was sitting on the couch watching TV when she came in, her purse dangling from her shoulder, her eyes distant. "Long day?" I asked, trying to meet her gaze. "Yeah," she said flatly, dropping her purse on the kitchen counter and walking past me. "I'm gonna shower." I watched her go, the air between us heavy with unspoken words. I didn't know why, but something in her tone, in the way she moved, sent a knot twisting in my stomach. I pushed the feeling aside, telling myself it was probably nothing. When she came out of the shower, she was quieter than usual. Normally, she'd sit down beside me, talk about her day, maybe crack a joke. But tonight, she just sat on the other side of the couch, her legs tucked under her, scrolling through her phone. I glanced over at her, watching the way her fingers moved over the screen, not saying a word. "Ava?" I tried again, hoping to bridge the distance that seemed to be widening between us. "Is everything okay?" She looked up, her expression unreadable. "Yeah, I'm just tired." Tired. That was her answer. Nothing more. I tried not to let it bother me. After all, everyone has those days, the long days that bleed into nights where all you want is to be left alone. I could understand that, but it didn't stop there. The next few days were more of the same. She came home late. She didn't talk much. When she did, her answers were short, detached. I started noticing other things too, little changes in the way she looked at me. Like she wasn't seeing me, really seeing me the way she used to. There were moments when she'd glance at me, but then look away quickly, like she was afraid I might catch something in her eyes. I'd ask her about her day, and she'd give me the same vague answers. Busy. Nothing special. I don't know. All the answers that told me nothing. I tried to let it go, but the nagging feeling in the back of my mind wouldn't let up. Was it work stress? Was she just going through something? Maybe I was being paranoid. She had always been a private person when it came to her emotions, but this felt different. It wasn't just her usual quiet. It was like she was withdrawing from me, from everything. Then one night I was cleaning up after dinner when I found something odd in her jacket pocket. It was a crumpled receipt. Nothing special at first glance, but then I noticed the date. It was from a hotel I didn't recognize, a place I was pretty sure she hadn't mentioned before. I stared at the receipt for a long moment, my mind spinning. She had always been open with me about where she was, who she was with. Why had she kept this from me? I didn't confront her immediately. I couldn't. Part of me still wanted to believe it was nothing, that I was just overthinking things. But the doubt, the suspicion was creeping in, growing stronger by the second. That evening, she came home late again, and I couldn't push the thoughts out of my head.
"I had to say something, didn't I, Ava? What's going on?" My voice was firmer than I intended. She froze in the doorway, her keys still in her hand. "What do you mean?" "I don't know. You've been acting distant." You're always gone. You're hardly here. It's like you're shutting me out.
She sighed, a long, exasperated sound. Arthur, I told you, it's just work. I don't know why you're making a big deal out of it. You've never been like this before. You've never kept things from me. She looked at me, her eyes hard for a moment, before she dropped her gaze. I'm not keeping anything from you. You're just overreacting. I wanted to say more. I wanted to demand answers, to push her until the truth came out, but instead I bit my lip, holding back. I wasn't sure if I was ready to hear whatever it was that would finally break the illusion. Okay, I said finally, my voice quieter. Okay, but if there's something going on, I need to know. She gave a tight smile, but there was no warmth in it. There's nothing going on, Arthur, I promise. I didn't believe her, not completely. But what could I do? I didn't.
Have proof, not yet.
Just a gnawing feeling deep in my gut that told me something wasn't right. I watched her walk away, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the calmness I had once felt in our life was slipping away, piece by piece, and I was powerless to stop it. I had no intention of going through her phone.
I swore I wouldn't. But the nagging feeling in my chest, the one I'd been trying to ignore for weeks, grew too loud. The silence between us was thick, suffocating. Ava had been distant, more so than usual. My mind raced every time I thought
About it, like 1,000 little thoughts running circles, chasing each other. So, when I saw her phone sitting there, abandoned on the kitchen counter, I couldn't help myself. I stared at it for a moment, my fingers twitching. I knew I shouldn't.
I knew it wasn't right. But the need to know, the need to see the truth was overwhelming. I picked it up. It felt cold in my hand, unfamiliar. I unlocked the screen. She always left it unlocked when she was home. The urge to back away, to put it down, was there, but it passed quickly. I scrolled through the messages, my heart pounding in my chest.
I told myself I was just checking if there was anything important. Work messages, maybe. Then I saw it. It wasn't much at first. A few messages between Ava and her friends, Daisy, Lauren. But then I saw one that made my stomach drop. It wasn't.
Even the content of the message itself. It was the time stamp. It was recent, too recent. I read the message again and again. It couldn't be real. There had to be some mistake. Ava, I still can't believe you did that in the bathroom. You're a legend, girl. Arthur's got competition now. I blinked, reading the words over and over again, trying to make sense of it. Who was this Arthur
they were talking about? My mind raced, my thoughts scrambling. Was this some kind of joke, some sick joke? But then I saw the photos, a blurry picture of Ava, looking like she was dancing on a table, laughing. In the background, a guy was standing behind her, shirtless, his hands on her waist. My hand shook as I scrolled further. Another picture. Ava sitting on the lap of someone I didn't recognize, a drink in his hand, grinning like they were the best of friends. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. Everything inside me felt like it was collapsing in on itself. My stomach turned. My heart beat so fast, I thought it might burst. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to process what I was seeing. I wasn't sure.
How long I stared at the screen, but it felt like hours. The messages kept coming, each one a blow to my chest, each one a confirmation that what I was seeing was real. Ava had hooked up with someone named Lucas. She admitted it. Just once,
She said, just for fun. But it didn't matter. The damage was done. I felt like I was suffocating. I wanted to throw the phone against the wall. I wanted to scream, to confront her, to demand answers right then and there, but something held me back. I couldn't do it. Not yet. Not in the heat of this, whatever it was. It was like my body was paralyzed. I wasn't ready to face her. I wasn't ready to hear whatever excuses or lies she would try to feed me. Instead, I did the only thing I could think of. I took screenshots, every single one. I didn't even think about it. I just did it, my fingers moving mechanically like
I wasn't in control anymore.
I saved every photo, every message, every piece of evidence. I emailed them to myself so I'd have a copy, so I couldn't forget. So no one could deny it. When I was done, I closed the phone. But I couldn't move. I sat there for what felt like forever, staring at the wall, trying to make sense of what had just happened. My world, the one I had built with Ava, felt like it was falling apart around me. Everything I thought I knew was a lie. My thoughts were a whirlwind. Was she planning to tell me? Did she think I wouldn't find out? How long had this been going?
I felt like I couldn't trust myself. I couldn't trust anything anymore.
I thought about confronting her right then, storming over to wherever she was, demanding answers, but I didn't. I couldn't. I wasn't ready. Instead, I just sat there, staring at the wall, trying to make sense of it all. The door creaked open. Behind me, I didn't turn around. I couldn't. I didn't want to see her yet. I didn't want to see that look on her face, the one that would either be full of guilt or cold indifference. I didn't know which would hurt more. "Arthur," she called, her voice soft. Too soft, like she knew something was wrong. I didn't
answer. I couldn't. She stepped into the living room, the sound of her footsteps slow, cautious. "Arthur?" she asked again. There was a hint of concern in her voice now. I didn't move. I didn't look at her.
I just sat there, gripping the phone in my hand, the weight of it almost unbearable. "Arthur, are you okay?" she asked, her voice trembling. I could hear it now, the crack in her tone. She knew something was wrong, but she didn't know what. Not yet. I didn't respond.
I couldn't. In the silence, my thoughts spun out of control. I wanted to scream. I wanted to confront her, but I didn't. I wasn't ready. I wasn't sure I ever would be. I couldn't sit on it any longer. I'd been replaying it in my mind. Over and over, day and night, the words, the pictures, the cold, undeniable evidence. I thought I could wait, hold it all together, but I couldn't. It was eating me alive. I waited until she got home. I knew she was coming back from a meeting. Another.
Late night, another excuse for why she couldn't be here with me. When she opened the door, she smiled at me. The same smile she'd given me every day for years, but now it felt like a mask. "Hey, baby, how was your day?" Her voice was light, casual, like everything was fine. I stood up from the couch, my heart pounding. "We need to talk." Her smile faltered just a little, but she quickly recovered. "What's wrong? You look upset." Upset? I couldn't keep the bitterness out of my voice.
You could say that. Or maybe I'm just confused. Maybe I'm just trying to figure out how long you've been lying to me. Her face went pale. I saw the shift in her eyes, the slight panic. She knew, she could feel it. "Arthur, what are you talking about?"
Her voice was tight now, trying to keep it together. "I'm talking about the hotel receipt," I said, my voice barely above a whisper, but it felt like it filled the whole room. "I'm talking about the texts, the photos, the one where you're
on some guy's lap, the one where you admit to hooking up with Lucas." I stepped closer, watching her face as each word hit her. "Is that what you've been doing behind my back?" Her eyes widened, and she took a step back. "Arthur, Don't try to explain this away." I cut her off, anger bubbling up, taking over. "I saw everything. I have the proof." There's no denying it. She opened her mouth to say something, but she stopped herself, taking a shaky breath.
Then, like a switch flipped, her face hardened, and she crossed her arms. I don't know what you expect me to say. Yeah, I made a mistake. It was just one night, Arthur. Just one stupid night. One stupid night? The words hit me like a slap to the face. You think that makes it better? You think that makes it okay? She winced, like she was trying to stay calm, but I could see it in her eyes. She was just trying to keep control. Look, You what? I snapped. You were drunk? Is that the excuse you're going to give me? Because if that's the case, you can save it. I'm not stupid. Her jaw clenched, and I saw a flicker of something, guilt maybe, before it was replaced by annoyance. I don't need this right now, Arthur. I don't need you acting like I'm some kind of villain. You're not a villain? I laughed, but it was bitter, hollow. You slept with another man while we were married. How the hell is that not being a villain? She took a deep breath and walked toward me, trying to calm the situation. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't. It was a mistake, Arthur.
A huge mistake. A mistake? My voice broke, and I couldn't keep the anger out of it. No, Ava, a mistake is spilling your drink on the carpet. This was deliberate. You chose to do this. You chose him over me. She looked away, not
meeting my eyes. I could feel the coldness creeping in, but I couldn't stop myself. You told me you loved me, I said, my voice shaking now. You told me I was your life. And now I find out you've been lying to me the whole time. I
never meant to hurt you, she repeated, her voice softer, but it didn't reach me.
I never meant for it to go that far. Don't even try to downplay it. I saw everything, Ava. I saw how you laughed about it with your friends, how you didn't care. Her face twisted, and I saw the frustration building. You don't understand. You don't know what it's like. I've been so caught up in everything. Caught up in what? I interrupted, incredulous. What could possibly make you think this was okay? What makes it okay to do this to me? To us? Her eyes darted away again, her voice low.
I don't know. I made a mistake. It was just one night. It didn't mean anything. I shook my head, the weight of everything crashing down on me. No, Ava. It wasn't just one night. It was everything. It was the lies, the distance.
The way you kept pulling away from me. You didn't just make a mistake, you betrayed me. I could see the tears in her eyes now, but I didn't care. I didn't care anymore. She didn't get to play the victim. She didn't get to manipulate me into feeling sorry for her. I didn't want this to happen, she whispered, her voice cracking. I swear I didn't. You didn't want this? I stepped closer to her, forcing her to meet my gaze. Then why did you let it happen? Why didn't you stop it? Why didn't you come to me?
I didn't know how, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know how to talk to you about how I was feeling. My heart twisted. I wanted to scream at her, to make her understand the damage she'd done. But all I could
do was stand there, staring at the woman I thought I knew, the woman who'd broken me. You've already said enough, I said, my voice hollow. I'm done. She opened her mouth like she was going to say something more, but I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear any more excuses. Without another word, I turned and walked away, leaving her standing there, lost in her own web of lies. I can't remember exactly when the numbness set in. It wasn't a sudden thing like flipping a switch. It was more like a fog rolling in, slowly at first, until everything I once knew became blurred and distant. Ava had gone, and I was left alone with the wreckage of my life. The apartment felt different now, as if it belonged to someone
else. The silence was deafening, pressing in on me, reminding me of everything that had just shattered.
I couldn't stop replaying it all, her face, her words, the excuses. It didn't matter how many times I told myself it was over. It didn't matter how many times I said I was done with her. I kept seeing her laugh with him, the photos in my head flashing like a slideshow I couldn't turn off. The image of her sitting on that guy's lap burned into my brain, and every time I tried to push it away, it came rushing back, sharper and more real. I walked around the apartment, my steps
Heavy.
I hadn't touched anything since she left. The couch where we used to sit together felt like it belonged to a stranger now. The dinner table we ate at, the books we read, the things we talked about, all of it felt like someone else's life. Not mine, not anymore. I grabbed my phone from the counter. There were 100 missed calls, family, friends, people who cared about me, but I didn't have the energy to deal with any of them. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to explain. I didn't want to hear how sorry they were or how things would get better. When I saw Ava's name on the screen, my stomach twisted. I'd turned off my phone that night at the motel. I didn't want to hear her voice, but now, seeing her name flashing in front of me, I just felt empty. I tapped the screen and the message popped up. "Arthur, please pick up. I'm sorry. Let's talk." I closed my eyes, squeezing the phone tightly in my hand. Part of me wanted to scream. Another part of me wanted to call her back and demand answers, even though I already knew everything I needed to know. I had the screenshots, the proof. What was there left to say? I threw the phone down on the couch. It wasn't going to change anything. The weight of everything pressed down on me again. I thought about the life we'd built, the trust I'd placed in her, the way I had loved her, and I thought about how easy it was for her to tear all of that apart. The more I thought about it, the more it felt like everything had been a lie. The moments, the promises, the things we said to each other, all of it felt fake now. How had I not seen it? How had I been so blind? I pulled my knees to my chest and sat on the floor, staring at the empty space in front of me. My mind kept going in circles, replaying everything. I kept thinking back to that night, when I found the messages, the photos. My heart had stopped.
Then raced. I thought I might throw up. I thought I might scream, but I didn't. I just stared at the screen, frozen. I should have known. I should have seen the signs. Why hadn't I? I heard the doorbell ring and I flinched. I didn't want to answer it. I didn't want to face anyone. But the person at the door didn't leave. I knew who it was. Ryan, I didn't.
Get up. I just stayed there, sitting on the floor, feeling like I was sinking deeper and deeper into the pit I couldn't escape from. I heard him knock again, louder this time. "Arthur?" His voice was muffled through the door. "Man, open up! I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to explain everything, but I knew he wouldn't leave until I did." I stood slowly, walking to the door, dragging my feet like they were filled with concrete. I opened it and there he was, Ryan, my brother. The one person I trusted more than anyone, but right now he felt like a stranger too. "Hey," he said, looking me over. "You good?" I didn't know how to answer that. I wasn't good. I
Wasn't anything, but I couldn't say it, so I just nodded. "Come on, man, talk to me. What the hell happened?" His voice softened, concern bleeding through.
He stepped inside, looking around like he was checking for something, but he didn't say anything about the mess. He knew better than that. "Nothing happened," I muttered, the words feeling like they came from someone else's mouth. "It's
Over? Ryan raised an eyebrow, his arms crossed, but he didn't push. He could tell something was off. "You sure?" he asked, his voice low. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him everything. I wanted to make him understand how much it hurt.
How everything felt like it had collapsed in on itself. But the words wouldn't come. I didn't have the energy to explain. "Yeah," I said, my voice hollow. "It's over." He stayed silent for a moment, letting the words hang in the air between us. Then he sighed. "Man, you don't have
To go through this alone. You can talk to me. I'm here. I didn't answer him right away. I couldn't. The weight of it all was crushing me. I couldn't decide what to do.
Should I leave? Should I stay and try to fix it? Should I just forget it all? I didn't know anymore. The silence stretched between us. I finally looked up at Ryan, meeting his eyes. "I don't know what to do," I whispered, my voice breaking.
I don't know what comes next. He put a hand on my shoulder, giving it a squeeze. One step at a time, man. One step at a time. But even that didn't feel enough.
I didn't know where the next step was or how I would even find the strength to take it. I don't know what I was hoping for when I saw the text. "Please, Arthur, let's talk." It had been days since I last heard from Ava, and now, after all that had happened, she was asking to talk. What more could she possibly say? What was left to discuss? I already knew everything I needed to know, but that text kept flashing in my mind over and over again. It was like it was calling me, pulling me towards something I couldn't even define. Was I really ready to let go? Could I forgive her? Could I even try to work through this? The thought of forgiveness felt impossible. But the thought of leaving her behind, after everything we'd built together, after the years of my life wrapped up in her, also seemed like it might break me. I stood by the window, staring out at the empty street below. The world outside seemed normal, unaffected. People were going on with their lives, oblivious to what was happening to me, what was happening in my marriage. The injustice of it all made my chest tighten. I could still feel the sting of the betrayal, raw and fresh, despite all the time that had passed. I remembered our wedding day, clear as day. How we stood in front of everyone we loved, vows exchanged, our hands intertwined. I had promised her that I would always stand by her, that we'd face everything together no matter what. I'd meant every word. But now? Now those vows felt like lies. I couldn't even look at them the same way, couldn't even hear my own voice saying those words without feeling like a fool. I picked up the phone and stared at the screen, her name glowing back at me. It felt heavy, suffocating. I should call her, I should confront her, find out if she was really sorry, if this was something we could fix. But what if this was all just an act? What if she was just saying the right things to avoid the consequences? What if she was still hiding something? My hands shook. The decision was suffocating me. I dropped the phone on the couch and paced the room. The walls felt like they were closing in. I could feel the anger, the rage bubbling up again. But what good would that do? I wasn't some vengeful person. I wasn't someone who wanted to drag this out, to destroy her completely, just because she'd hurt me. No. I wasn't going to be that person. I didn't want to be that person. But I wasn't sure I could forgive her either. I thought back to that night. The moment I'd found the evidence, the truth that tore everything apart. I remember staring at my phone, my hands freezing. The shock, the disbelief, the way my heart seemed to stop in my chest. How had she done this to me? How
had she been able to betray me so completely? But the truth was, I couldn't pretend I wasn't still in love with her.
Even after all the lies, the hurt, the betrayal, there was still something inside me that longed for the person I thought she was, the woman I'd married. But was that enough to move forward? Was love really enough? I wanted to scream. I wanted to confront her, demand answers, and yet there was this voice inside me telling me to just leave it all behind, to walk away from the pain, the uncertainty, and rebuild my life. Maybe I was better off without her.
Maybe the life I thought I had with her wasn't the life I really wanted. I looked at my reflection in the mirror, seeing the exhaustion in my eyes, the weariness on my face. I was losing myself in all of this. I was drowning in her betrayal, and I didn't know if I had the strength to swim to the surface.
A knock at the door startled me. My heart skipped a beat. I didn't have to guess who it was. Ava. I hesitated before walking toward the door. The anger, the confusion, everything I was feeling collided inside me. Part of me wanted to slam the door in her face, to tell her to leave, to never come back. But another part of me, the part that was still clinging to some hope, some semblance of what we once had, wanted to open the door and listen, to hear her side, to understand if there was any way we could fix this. But deep down, I knew there was no going back. The trust was shattered, and once that's gone, can anything really be repaired? I took a deep breath before opening the door. Ava stood there, her eyes red-rimmed, looking smaller than I remembered. She took a step forward, but I didn't move to let her in. Instead, I just stood there, my heart pounding. "Ava," I said quietly, trying to keep my voice steady.
"What do you want?" She looked at me, her voice trembling. I know I hurt you. I know I betrayed you, and I'm so sorry. I was stupid. It was a mistake, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it right. Please. Please."
"Don't walk away from me." I felt the tears welling up in my eyes, but I blinked them back. "You don't get it, do you? It's not just about a mistake. You destroyed everything. You lied to me. You broke my trust." She shook her head, tears spilling over. I know, and I regret it more than anything. But Arthur, please."
"I need you. I love you." I looked at her, my heart aching, but my mind screaming at me to make a choice. I thought of our wedding vows, the promises I'd made, the way she used to look at me.
And I thought of the pain, the deceit, the way everything felt like it had turned into a lie. Was I supposed to forgive her? Could I? Or was it time to let go? "I don't know what to do," I whispered, the weight of it all crashing down on
Me. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "I don't know either," I said, stepping back.
"But I can't keep doing this. I can't keep hurting like this." I turned away and walked back into the apartment, leaving her standing there, crying. The decision was made. I wasn't going to stay in this. I couldn't. Not anymore. I just didn't know where I'd go from here. I didn't know what I was looking for when I sat down with my phone. My mind kept drifting between two paths, revenge or redemption. Both felt like they were pulling me in opposite directions. The truth was I was exhausted. I'd been pacing around the apartment for days, the weight of everything pressing down on me. It wasn't just Ava's betrayal. It was the lies, the secrets, the realization that everything I thought I knew had been a carefully constructed illusion. And now? I was left with nothing but a broken version of the life I thought I had. I stared at my phone. It was late, the quiet of the night wrapping around me like a blanket. I thought of calling her again, confronting her, maybe going to Lucas and exposing everything. Maybe that would feel like justice, I told myself. Maybe showing the world who she really was would make me feel better. But I couldn't. That wouldn't be justice. It would be revenge. I wasn't that person. I hadn't realized it until now, but what Ava had done wasn't just a betrayal of our marriage, it was a betrayal of the trust we'd built. But it wasn't just her I had to deal with. I had to face myself. What kind of man would I be if I let this destroy me completely? If I spent the rest of my life looking for ways to hurt her back, to tear her apart the way she had done to me? The thought of confronting Lucas crossed my mind again. I knew where he worked. I could show up. I could say the things I wanted to say, tell him how it felt to be made a fool of, how it felt to have my life ripped apart because of his careless actions. But what would that achieve? Would it bring me peace? No, it would just make things worse. I wasn't angry at Lucas, not really.
I was angry at myself. I was angry for not seeing the signs, for not protecting my own heart. But more than anything, I was angry at how I'd let myself become so powerless, how I'd let her walk all over me without fighting back. I looked at
The screen in front of me, the photo of Ava smiling, her face lighting up in a way I hadn't seen in months. It felt like a lifetime ago. I wanted to forget her, to delete everything, every memory, every trace of her from my life. But that wouldn't fix anything either. I needed to reclaim control. That was the first step. I picked up my phone and dialed.
Ryan's number, my finger hovering over the screen for a moment. The last time we talked, I hadn't felt strong enough to do anything, but now I needed to talk to someone who understood. Ryan picked up on the second ring. "Hey man, what's up?" "I need help," I said, the words coming out more desperate than I intended. "I need to get out of here. I need to figure out what comes next." He was silent for a moment, probably reading between the lines. "I thought you were done with it all, with Ava." "What's going on?" I sighed, feeling the weight of everything settle deeper into my chest. I can't just let it go. I need to do something. I need to make sure she doesn't just walk away.
From this, without facing the consequences, Ryan's voice was steady, calm, as always. "What do you mean? I can't just sit here anymore and let her get away with it."
"I've been thinking about it, and I need to expose her, let everyone know who she really is." Ryan was quiet for a long time. I could hear the faint hum of something in the background, like he was considering his words carefully. "I get it," he finally said. "I do, but are you sure that's the way you want to go? You think dragging this out, making it a spectacle, will give you peace, or is it just going to hurt you more?" His words hit me like a slap. It was exactly what I needed to hear, but I didn't want to hear it. "I don't know," I muttered. "But I can't just walk away like this. I can't pretend everything's fine when it's not." "Arthur," Ryan said gently, "you have every right to be angry."
But you can't let her have this much power over you. What she did to you is wrong, no question. But if you go down this path, if you expose everything just to get back at her, you'll lose yourself in it. You'll become the victim of the situation instead of taking control of your own life. I was silent. His words were sinking in, but they felt so difficult to accept. I didn't want to forgive her. I didn't want to forget what she'd done. But I had to move forward or I was going to lose myself in this. Ryan continued, his voice
firm. "What if you just let it go? What if you start over? Heal. Focus on you. You deserve that. Don't let her turn you into someone you're not." I ran my hand through my hair, feeling the weight of his words. Could I really just walk?
away? Could I really leave the anger behind and focus on healing? I thought about Ava, about the way we used to be. And then I thought about the way she'd looked at me the night I found out, how broken she seemed, how desperate to make it right. Part of me wanted to believe her, wanted to believe that she really did love me. But another part of me knew that I couldn't keep holding on to someone who had already let me go. I exhaled slowly, the tension in my body finally beginning to ease. "You're right," I said quietly. "I need to let go. I need to focus on myself." Ryan was quiet for a moment before speaking again. "It's going to be hard, man, but you're strong. You've got this." "I'll figure it out," I said, the words feeling more certain this time. "I'll figure it out." We said our goodbyes, and I hung up the phone, sitting in the silence. I still didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in weeks I felt like I had a direction. The anger, the need for revenge, it was still there, lurking beneath the surface. But it wasn't all-consuming anymore. I was ready to take control of my life again. It was time to move on. It's strange how quickly the world keeps turning, even when everything you know falls apart. When I first found out about Ava's betrayal, I wanted to scream. I wanted to make her feel the pain she had caused, the humiliation, the regret. I wanted her to pay. But now, sitting in my small apartment, watching everything unfold from a distance, I realized that I didn't need to do anything to make her suffer. Life had already begun doing that for her. I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through my phone, when I saw it, an article on a local news site. My stomach dropped. It wasn't just a rumor, it was out in the open now. The whole world was going to know. The headline read, "Local designer faces scandal after affair with married man exposed." Ava's name was right there, bold and staring back at me. My hands shook as I read through the article. It detailed everything: the affair with Lucas, the hotel stay, the secret messages between her and her friends. It was all there, laid bare for everyone to see. And the best part, she had no idea that the storm was coming. I put the phone down, leaning back against the couch, my eyes fixed on the ceiling. Part of me expected to feel satisfaction. I expected to feel vindicated, like a weight had been lifted. But instead,
I felt nothing. It wasn't relief. It wasn't even anger. It was just emptiness.
I glanced at the clock. It was late in the afternoon, and I knew Ava would be at work. But in the pit of my stomach, I could already feel the shift in the air. Things were changing for her, whether she liked it or not. I thought back to the night I left, to the silence, to the heaviness of saying goodbye without a word, without any explanation. She didn't deserve one. Not after everything, but now I wondered how she would feel when she found out, when she realized that everything she had worked so hard to hide was exposed. The sound of my phone vibrating pulled me back to reality. I picked it up and saw a message from Ryan. "Hey man, you see the news? Ava's name is all over it. People are talking. It's starting." I knew he was right. People were talking. I could already imagine the whispers, the judgment. I didn't have to be there to see it, to hear it. Ava was about to lose everything. Her career, her reputation, maybe even her friends. It was happening, and I couldn't stop it. I didn't want to. Another message came through, this time from one of our mutual friends, Lauren. "Arthur, I know this is hard, but I think Ava
needs you right now. She's freaking out, and I don't know who else to turn to. Please, just talk to her." I stared at the message, feeling a wave of indifference wash over me. Did she deserve my help? After everything? After how easily she'd tossed our relationship aside? I typed back quickly, "I'm done, Lauren. I'm not the one she needs. She made her choices." I hit send before I could second-guess myself. It was true. I had made my choice too. I had walked away from the lies, from the betrayal. I wasn't going to be her savior. Not now, not ever again. I didn't hear from her that evening, and I didn't care. But the next morning, my phone lit up with messages. There were texts from Ava, lots of them. "Arthur, please, I don't know what to do. I didn't mean for it to happen this way. I'm sorry. Please, talk to me. Let's fix this." I didn't respond. I couldn't. There was nothing left to say. She didn't deserve an explanation. She didn't deserve my time. Later that afternoon, I saw a post on social media, a picture of Ava,
standing alone outside her office building. Her face was streaked with mascara from crying, her eyes hollow, looking like she was waiting for something. Someone. But I knew better. There was no one left for her to turn to. I didn't feel sorry for her. I didn't feel anything. The woman, who had once been my everything, was now just a stranger. I couldn't even recognize her anymore. I thought about the future, about what came next for me. I was free. No matter how much it hurt to admit it, I knew it was true.
I was free. I got a call later that evening. I didn't recognize the number, but I picked it up anyway. It was Ava's mother, Caroline. "Arthur," she said, her voice soft, pleading. "Please, can you talk to her? She's in a bad place, right?"
Now, she's devastated and I know you're angry, but this isn't helping.
"She's been crying non-stop. You're the only one who can help her." I pressed my lips together, feeling the sting of the past few days surge in my chest. She had a chance to make things right, Caroline. I gave her everything, and she chose
To throw it all away. There was silence on the other end of the line before Caroline spoke again. "I know you're hurt. We all are. But don't let her fall apart. Please, Arthur." I didn't answer right away. Part of me wanted to tell her that it wasn't my problem anymore. But another part of me, one that I didn't want to acknowledge, felt a flicker of compassion. But I couldn't. I couldn't be her safety net anymore. She had to face the consequences of her actions. "I'm sorry, Caroline," I said quietly, "but I'm done." I hung up before she could say anything else, my hand trembling as I set the phone down. The silence in the apartment was overwhelming. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel sadness. All I felt was a sense of peace that had been so long in coming. Ava's consequences were hers to bear now. She had destroyed everything we had, and now life was showing her what that really meant. I didn't need to seek revenge. Karma was already doing its job. And for the first time in days, I felt the smallest spark of hope. The storm was over. The skies were clearing. I woke up this morning feeling different. I'm not sure how to explain it. Maybe it's the sunlight that finally feels warm again. Or maybe it's just that the air in my apartment has started to feel lighter. I can't keep dwelling on the past. I can't keep letting it hang over me. I picked up my phone, staring at the screen for a moment before checking the messages. There were a few from Ryan checking in, making sure I was doing okay. There were others from mutual friends, some reaching out with sympathy, others simply wanting to know how I was holding up. But none of them mattered as much as the one message I'd been avoiding for days, one from Ava. I opened it. "Arthur, please, I can't keep living like this. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I want to make it right." I stared at it for a while, my heart numb. I didn't feel anything anymore, not towards her, not towards what we had. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It wasn't about proving anything. I had already let go. I didn't respond. There was no need to. I had nothing left to say. I closed the message, feeling a strange sense of relief. I leaned back against the couch, staring out the window. The city was waking up, the streets buzzing with life. I was ready to wake up too. It felt like I had spent too long in the shadows, too long running from the pain. But not anymore. A few days ago, I would have been consumed by the need to confront her, to fix things, to demand answers. But now I was different. I had made peace with it. I had taken the first steps towards healing, and it was time to fully embrace it. I walked to the kitchen, making myself a coffee, the familiar morning routine grounding me. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, but I knew I didn't want to keep living in the past. I had spent enough time there, and now it was time to move forward. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Ryan. "How's today looking? Want to grab lunch? I'm picking you up in an hour." I smiled to myself. It had been days since I had actually left my apartment, and I hadn't realized how much I missed just getting out of my head. I typed back, "Sounds good. See you soon." When Ryan showed up, he didn't ask a lot of questions. He didn't need to. We both knew what I was going through. Instead, he just talked, telling me about his work, cracking jokes about some ridiculous new project he was involved in. It felt good to laugh again, even if it was just for a moment. We ended up at a little diner on the edge of town. As we sat across from each other, the quiet hum of the place filling the space between us, I realized
Something.
for the first time in a long time I was really seeing the world around me. "So," Ryan said, breaking the silence, "have you thought about what's next? You've got to start thinking about you now, man. Your future." I stirred my coffee, thinking about his words. My future. I'd been so wrapped up in Ava, in the idea of what we were supposed to be, that I hadn't stopped to think about what I wanted, what I needed. "I don't know yet," I admitted, my voice quiet. "I feel like I'm just figuring things out. But I'm getting there, one step at a time." Ryan nodded, his eyes soft with understanding. That's all any of us can do, really, one step at a time. As we ate, I couldn't help but feel a sense of freedom I hadn't felt in so long. For the first time in what felt like ages, I was taking my life back. I wasn't running, I wasn't hiding, I was moving forward. Later that day, I walked around the city, just letting my thoughts wander. I passed the places Ava and I used to visit, the ones we'd shared so many memories in. But today they didn't feel like mine anymore. They didn't feel like a part of me. They felt like remnants of a life that had been erased, a life that no longer belonged to me. It was a strange sensation, but it was also freeing. For the first time, I felt like I was starting fresh. I had no idea what my future held, but I knew I was ready to find it. I could feel the weight lifting off me with every step I took. I could feel myself shedding the person I had been, the one who was consumed by pain and betrayal. I was stepping into a new chapter, and it wasn't defined by Ava or by the past. It was mine to write. When I got back to my apartment, I took a deep breath, looking around at the space that had felt so heavy not too long ago. It was just a place, a space for me to exist, to rebuild. I'd turned a corner, I'd reclaimed my life, and now it was time to make it my own. I grabbed my laptop, staring at the blank screen in front of me. There were emails to send, work to catch up on, goals to set. This was the start of something new. I opened a new document and typed the first words that came to mind. "I'm moving on. It's time to build something better. For me." And just like that, I knew this was the beginning, the real beginning, of something new, something all mine. It's strange how silence can feel so loud. I woke up this morning to the quiet. The kind of quiet that feels different, calm, still, and oddly peaceful. I never thought I'd get here, but here I am, free. I sit on the edge of the bed, looking around my apartment. It's no longer just a space I've been hiding in. It's mine, my own place, where I've made a life for myself again. The walls that once felt suffocating now feel like a refuge. I don't think I've ever truly appreciated the peace of solitude until now. I pick up my phone and see a message from Ryan. It's short, simple. "You good?" I smile to myself. He's always been there, always checked in, making sure I'm okay. But I don't need constant reassurance anymore. I've found my own strength. I text him back. Yeah, I'm good, finally. It's true, I'm not just surviving anymore, I'm living again. There's a clarity I didn't have before, a sense of purpose that I've been missing for far too long. The anger, the resentment, it's all faded. It's like they were never even mine to carry. I think back to the days when I was caught in the web of Ava's lies, unable to see the truth for what it was. I remember the constant ache in my chest, the feeling of betrayal, the question of whether I could ever trust anyone again. But I've learned something in all of this. I've learned that I can trust myself, that I don't need anyone to define me. My phone buzzes again. This time, it's a voicemail from Ava. I don't even listen to it. I don't need to. I don't need her anymore. I delete the message without hesitation. I stand up, stretching and looking out the window. The world is still turning, people are still going about their lives, and here I am, finally at peace with mine. I don't need her to explain herself, to apologize, or to fix things. I've fixed myself. That's enough. I think about the lessons I've learned, about the way I used to chase after validation, after approval, after love. I realize now that the love I needed most was the love I hadn't been giving myself. I used to think I had to fix everything, to hold on to something. That wasn't meant to stay, but now I understand that the healthiest thing I can do is let go. My phone buzzes again. This time, it's a text from Lauren. I heard what happened. I just wanted to say I'm here for you, whenever you're ready. I don't know what to say, so I don't respond right away. It's not that I don't appreciate her support. I do. But I'm not looking for sympathy anymore. I'm not the person I was when I was with Ava. I'm stronger now, more independent. I've learned how to stand on my own. I walk to the small kitchen, making myself a cup of coffee. I don't
have a plan for the future yet. And that's okay. I'm not in a rush anymore. I've learned that life doesn't have to be lived in a hurry.
There's time for everything, and everything will fall into place when it's meant to. I sit down at the table, sipping my coffee and feeling the weight of the last few months finally lift from my shoulders. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. I've had to make hard decisions, walk away from things I thought I needed, and rebuild everything from scratch. But I did it. The truth is, I'm better off without the toxic relationship that once defined me. I'm better off without the confusion, the constant questioning, the lies. I can breathe now. I can think clearly. I'm not waiting for someone else to make me feel whole anymore. The phone buzzes again, but this time I don't even check. I don't need to. My life is my own now, and I'm finally free. I think back to all those late nights, the pain that felt unbearable, the loneliness that seemed endless. But I survived, and in the process, I found myself again. I found a version of me that I had forgotten existed, buried beneath all the doubt, all the fear, and all the heartache. I put my coffee down and walk over to the window, looking out at the world below. The world that I am now a part of again. The world that I can finally embrace with open arms. A small smile forms on my lips. I'm not waiting for anyone. I'm not looking back. I found my peace, my freedom, and that's enough. The door to my past is closed, but there's a whole new world waiting for me, and I'm ready for it.